Not every day is going to be a good day, but there's good in every day. Buenos dias. Good day. How's it going? I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the Risen Fallen podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hendrickson. And if you are brand new to this podcast, then what you can expect is open and authentic conversations about things like mental health, self-development, and how to get your life moving in the right direction. Even if you're not where you want to be right now, just having the confidence and knowing that you are moving closer and closer every single day to the life that you want to live, the person you want to become, and all that great stuff. And if you're not new to this podcast, if you're a returning listener, if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back and for supporting the show and supporting this movement, supporting this journey. Whether you are brand new to this podcast or not, you are the reason that I do what I do. And so welcome to the show. Happy Monday. I hope your week is going to start off on the right foot. I hope that you're doing well today. But I wanted to share a little bit of, how my day went and, my takeaway from that and how I'm kind of thinking about it as I just got home from work and I'm about to go for a run and just kind of, process everything that happened today. Today, I had a very frustrating day at work. It was one of those days where just little things continuously happened that felt like they were kind of going wrong or, just not really going my way. So one of my jobs that I'm doing right now, obviously, if you've listened to this podcast before, you may or may not know that I work in home renovations. I'm a carpenter by trade, but we do a little bit of everything. I do a lot of kitchens and bathroom renovations for the most part. Sometimes we have bigger projects, sometimes we have smaller projects. But right now, I'm doing a bathroom renovation at this person's house. And so we've got the flooring done, we've got the baseboards done, we've got the toilets installed, we've got everything installed. And we did some brand new countertops, which look beautiful. Today I went to go help the guys install the countertops, and then I was going to help install the tap sets and sinks, etc. And so one of the things with this job that's, I wouldn't say... Well, I would. It's kind of annoying is that they wanted to reuse a bunch of the old existing, tap sets, sinks, etc. And the countertops are actually cut specifically for the existing sinks and tap sets and everything like that. So today we go, we install all the new countertops, a nice beautiful waterfall in their kitchen island. Everything's going according to plan. There's a little bit of discrepancies here and there about the backsplash, and certain things got kind of mixed up there. The guys that cut the stone for the countertops forgot one of the backsplashes, and so there was a little bit of a hiccup there. No problem. It was a little bit, whatever. They'll have to come back and install that a little bit later. We get the existing countertops off the counters, obviously, a while back, and we have the sinks that are still attached to those, with silicone. They're kind of like underlaid sinks. And so one of the things we have to do is get the old sink, bit like the basin, off of the old countertop, and those things are glued on pretty tight. And so the first one, we use heat guns, start melting off all the silicone and softening it up a bit, and then you just jam a little razor blade in there and cut. And it's a kind of a long, annoying process, but if they want to reuse their sinks, then we're going to give them what they want. And so that's what we do. The first one, we chip away. We chip away at that. We get the sink cut off, and we're able to install that sink into the new countertops, which is beautiful. And then the second time, I'm chipping away at cutting the silicone off on this thing. And sorry if this is boring for you guys, but this is just, I thought I would just share this little story with you. And as I'm cutting the silicone off of this existing sink, I'm like, okay, it's one of those things where you're like, you're cutting in between the countertop and the sink. And you just like kind of basically can barely fit like a razor blade in there as you're just sitting there with a heat gun, heating it up. There's a couple different techniques that you can use for this. There's different solvents you can use, but this is what I'm going with that day. And so I'm there basically trying to slowly cut this thing as I use a pry bar to like open up a little bit more. And we end up anyways, long story short, we end up breaking one of the sinks. And so that's kind of an annoying thing because obviously you have to then explain to your customer how that's going to cost them, the value of buying a new sink. It ended up being about $150, just north of that. And then, so we get that all sorted out. We're like, okay, I'll grab you a new sink on my way to work tomorrow. So let's just install the tap sets today and we'll keep moving forward. And so a little bit of a hiccup with the backsplash, a little bit of a hiccup with the sink, but it is what it is. So be it. We have just a upfront conversation. There's no like excuses involved. It's just like, hey, I broke this sink because I was taking it apart, and we'll have to buy you a new one. It is what it is. So annoying, but it is what it is. Like I said. So we keep moving forward. We're like, all right, we're just gonna control what we can control. We got the tap sets here. Let's install those, and these are the existing tap sets that were already in their bathrooms. And we're like, okay, yeah, we'll just install those again when we get your countertops in. So the countertops were specifically cut for these tap sets. And so we go to install those. And the new countertops are 1 centimeter thicker than the existing countertops, than the old ones, right? And so when we go to install the tap sets, there isn't enough threading on the bottom because, I don't know why, but because the old ones, I guess, were just shorter. So we go to install the new tap sets, and the supply lines don't have enough threading on the bottom of the countertop to actually attach without leaking. So we're not able to use the old tap sets either. And in my personal opinion, they shouldn't have anyways, but again, it is what it is. We tried giving them what they wanted, but these things happen, and so we're not able to install the tap sets either. So here we go. We spent a couple hours trying to, get their sink set up, and then that broke, and then their existing taps won't work, so they're going to have to get new ones of those. So then you have to explain to them, okay, you're going to have to buy 2 new tap sets as well for these 2 bathroom sinks because your new countertops are a little bit thicker and they don't have the threading necessary to hook up these supply lines. And so you're basically having to explain, I was basically having to explain to this customer that, I had spent a couple hours there, and aside from the countertops being installed, there's not much I really got accomplished that day. And on top of all of that, having to, work around all that, you're going to have to spend a couple $100 to grab some new tap sets and a new sink. And so they were very understanding. They're very good people. We love working for these guys. This isn't the first time we've done work for these customers. And so they've at the end of the day, they've kind of seen the quality of work that we do. They appreciate the work that we do. They appreciate the service that we provide. So they were very understanding. But as somebody that kind of takes to heart the quality of work that they do on a daily basis, it's kind of an annoying thing, and it's a tough pill to swallow. I know obviously there's many more, much more expensive mistakes that have been made in the construction industry. But for me, I take all of these little things as failures, and I take them personally. And a lot of the time, it's easy for me to get very frustrated and to start to look at all of these little speed bumps as roadblocks, as things that are going to halt me in my path, and to take these things personally, and to get frustrated and upset and think, man, I really failed these people. I'm really and just to start spiraling downward in that thought process and just take things personally, because especially when you enjoy what you do and you find value in what you do, it can seem like if you don't do a good job or if you don't accomplish what, you set out to do or what someone expects you to do, it hurts. It hurts us. And we start to feel like, maybe I don't provide the value that I thought I did, or, it's easy to take it personal if you are passionate about what you do, if you see a lot of value in what you do. A lot of people, and I'm sorry if this is you, if you fall into this bubble of people, but a lot of people don't really give a fuck about what they do. And I think that is imprisonment in and of itself. But I think most of you, if you're listening to this, you kind of understand where I'm coming from. So we'll just let that soak in for a second. I'm going to take a little sip of my coffee because it's been just about 10 minutes here, and I think it's nice to take a breath. So I'm going to take a second here to sip my coffee. I implore you guys to kind of just maybe take a second to take a sip of your coffee or your water or your protein shake, or if you got nothing in front of you, just take a breath here just to focus yourself and get present in the moment. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about my takeaways from the day, and we'll go from there. So I'm just going to take a sip of coffee real quick. All right. So obviously, like I said, there's a lot more expensive mistakes that have been made in the construction industry, in renovations, or in any job that you work. Obviously, there's a lot more mistakes that kind of ruin relationships. Luckily, again, like I said, we have a lot of rapport built with these customers. We've worked with them. The relationship that we have with them is really good. At the end of the day, nothing really was destroyed other than the sink. And everyone's just kind of like, all right, yeah, it's just going to take one more day, whatever. And so it is what it is. And I know that there's a lot bigger problems in the world, but the lesson I wanted to kind of explain that I took out of today is that no matter what your job is, no matter what challenges you face, it could be in your workplace, it could be in your relationship, it could be in your family, it could be in your hobbies, your recreational life, it could be in a sport you play, it could be literally anything. We're going to face challenges on a daily basis. We're going to be tested, and we're going to be seeing adversity. And it's easy to just, have good days all the time. And, but that's not the reality of how life works. You're going to have days where you get challenged. You're going to have days where you have to face an adversity. And obviously, you're going to have days where you have to face way more adversity than what I face today. And it's easy to take those things personally. It's easy to take those things to heart and to feel like you're a failure just because something failed in your day. It's easy to feel like you're never going to do anything right because maybe you didn't do something right today and you made a mistake. Or maybe you thought you could get away with making a mistake and you lied about it and you thought that you could get away with that. And maybe you get caught in that and then you feel like, oh, I'm a double failure now. And it's easy for these things to start to compound. And when you do start to, make mistakes or fail in life, it's easy to look back at other failures and other mistakes you've made and start to see those things compound and think, well, I messed up today, I messed up last week, and I messed up 6 years ago, and I messed up when I was trying to remember the lyrics in the Christmas concert when I was 5 years old in kindergarten, and I messed up in front of everybody, and so I never have been good, I never will be good, and you can see how these thoughts kind of start to compound if you're anything like me, but that's the way that my brain works. And so I just wanted to remind you guys that, like I said in the intro to this episode, it's not like every single day is going to be a good day, but there is good in every single day. And it's important to reflect on the things that you can be grateful for the things that you should be grateful for, and to understand, like, hey, you know what? I woke up inside today with a roof over my head. There's food in my fridge. I still have a job. There's still an opportunity for me to provide, for me to add value to my community, to make things better for the people around me, and just to recount, I still can exercise. I can still go home and I can still talk to somebody. I can still maybe go and have a good workout and be thankful that tomorrow's another day. I learned from everything that happened today, and I'll be better for it. And so I thought that that would be kind of, like I said, it was a frustrating day for me today because it felt like a lot of hours wasted and, a tough conversation that we had to have with the homeowner. But it is what it is. We're moving forward. We're going to have a good day moving forward. And, I just wanted to kind of share that story. And so before I close off here, I wanted to first off remind you guys that if you're watching this on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you are listening to this on a podcast platform like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything like that, leave a 5-star review, leave a little review, a little comment for your boy, because those things all help boost me in the algorithm and help get this message out for people that haven't heard it yet, that need to hear it, or just need to be reminded that life is beautiful. And though you're not maybe having the best day right now, life can and will get better for you. So as we finish off here, wrapping up this episode, I just wanted to share a couple of different quotes here and talk about them a little bit before we wrap up. So the first quote that I want to share with you guys as I read this today: "Fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men." And obviously, this can be said for a lot of different things in life, but the way we test the strength of gold, I don't really know why they use fire to test gold, but I'm assuming it's to test kind of the strength of gold and to bend it and make it more malleable and make it more useful to maybe use for things in the future as opposed to just a gold bar. We use fire to mold it and melt it down and make it stronger as we fold it over and bang it with a hammer on the anvil. And adversity is the same thing for strong people, right? And so obviously, if you have some gold, it has some inherent value. But by putting in the fire and molding it into something else, maybe jewelry, maybe a tool, maybe a weapon, I don't know, maybe a crown because you're a king or a queen, whatever. Adversity, going through adversity does the exact same thing to people. It makes us, it molds us and it changes us. It reshapes us and creates, it recreates us into something new, something more valuable, something more useful, and really just changes the way that we are, the way that, not just the shape that we are and the way that other people perceive us and see us and are able to use us to make things better, but also the way that we perceive ourselves and the way that we perceive the world around us as, not just because when you're reshaped into something different, that is a tool to make things better around you. It is, you perceive the world as something that you can then alter and make better as well. Because you're more useful and you're more able to use the resources around you in the world and in your community more effectively. And I think that that's just kind of a beautiful quote that, I really think that gives us more value, and it can really change the way we see the challenges and the adversities that we face. Rather, if they're big or small, just understand that they are shaping you and molding you into a better person. And so when you do have a bad day, when you do have a tough go, maybe a bad week, a bad month, or even a couple of bad years, just understand that adversity is molding you if you respond to it properly, which is what I'm going to talk about next. If you respond to it properly, it's molding you into something that's better than what you are right now. And the only way, in my personal opinion, that you can evolve and shift and change and be reshaped is by going through adversity and responding to it properly. And and that's a quote from Seneca. So fire is the test of gold, adversity of strong men. And the second quote that I want to share with you guys, which is something that obviously I've talked about many times before in this podcast, but I think it's worth revisiting. A lot of these obviously are Stoic quotes because that's a lot of the books that I read. But Epictetus says, "We cannot change our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them." And so it's very easy when you start to break things at work, when you start to mess things up, when you start to fail, when you start to really just fuck things up. It's easy to respond in ways that, Like I said, you start to take things personally, you start to lash out, you start to talk or think ill of yourself, of people around you. You start to maybe feel jealousy or envy for people that aren't going through these issues. You start to maybe look more pessimistically or a lot of the times narcissistically at the world and think that, things should be better for you. You deserve the better things, and you don't deserve to go through these things. You don't deserve to have, tough things in life. You don't deserve to face challenges, or at least, you don't deserve these challenges. You see other people's challenges that you see from like an outside perspective. You see their life and you're like, oh, I want those challenges. I don't want these challenges. And I think that a lot of us, you don't get to choose your outside circumstances. You don't get to choose the weather. You don't get to choose what happens or what people say to you or what people think of you. You don't get to choose a lot of things in life. You don't get to choose your height, your skin color, your gender. You don't get to choose a lot of these fucking things. And that's probably going to get me canceled now. But you don't get to choose a lot of things in life. And the important thing to focus on is not what you cannot control, but to focus on what you can control. Because if you try and focus on these things, I don't even need to explain this. What happens if you try and focusing on changing the things that you can't control? You're going to go crazy. You're going to go fucked. Like your life is going to it's going to be like a living hell. Because obviously, by definition, you can't control those things. And so by trying to, you're going to go crazy. And so obviously, focusing on the things that you can control is a lot more productive use of your time, energy, and your thoughts. And when you start to focus on those things, you think, okay, my day didn't go as planned, my week didn't go as planned, whatever you want to look at it, my month didn't go as planned, however you want to look at it. And what went wrong? How many of those things were in my control? And what's maybe the easiest thing that I can start to work on, that I can improve upon that situation or a similar situation in the future? What's the easiest thing that I can improve on right now? What's the quickest thing that I can start to work on? Or maybe you could think of, what are the ways that I was neglecting to work on this in the past? What was I trying to avoid working on before that kind of led me to this situation right now? There's a lot of different ways to think about this, of the idea of controlling what you can control and what you should work on first. And maybe that's something that you guys want to talk about as well. Maybe that's something you want to share. You can drop in the comment section below if you're watching this on YouTube, is maybe thinking about, what were some of the ways that you controlled what you could control this week or this month or this year, or something that was monumental for you in this life. And that's all I wanted to talk about today. I think that's where a beautiful place to wrap things up today. I hope you are all doing well, and I wish you the best. My thoughts and prayers are with you. That's all I got for today. I will catch you on Thursday. Much love and peace out, you beautiful human beings. And remember, life can and will get better. You just have to work for it. That's all I got. Bye.